if you share your story about how you get here, and actually, like you said, put in simple words, like what you're feeling, what you're thinking about, the tag world is only for men. It is not. It is not. And you can the women perspective is really valuable. And for these girls hearing these stories is I think is there something that they need to hear and be inspired by.
Technology, especially now, is very clear that it's going to have an increasingly more important role in our lives, whether we want it or not. So why not tell our girls that they can also be part of shaping that future, right? And make sure that it is built in a way that includes us, what we need as moms, as women, as Latinas. So for today, I am really looking forward to talking to Ana María Guzmán. And her story is different, right? We've had in the podcast incredible executives who are now in the C-suite and boardrooms, and that's amazing, right? But I also wanted to bring stories of Latinas who came to the world of technology kind of sort of by accident, but not really, and have now become leaders in tech, right? Leading technical teams. So she can provide some advice and share her story and be relatable to others who are already in tech or thinking about moving to tech. So Anna is also part of our Mass Global team in full transparency. So we're just really lucky to have someone like her in our team. So Ana María was born and raised in the Red Roofs City, La Ciudad de los Techos Rojos, in Caracas, Venezuela. Her mom, very talented odontologist. Her father, one of the first software engineers in the country. So technology was always part of Ana Maria's world. She was fascinated to understand how the world worked, and that led her to study engineering, but a different type of engineering, petroleum engineering. That's right, Ingeniería de Petróleos, at the best university in Venezuela, Universidad Central de Venezuela, where she was able to have the first steps in the software field. For her, the programming classes were the best part of the day. It was like music, so easy to understand for her. She graduated with honors, first in her class, but the political situation in her country was getting worse and worse, and it affected the petroleum industry, mostly guiding her into her other passion, programming. So, with the help of her brother and sister, both IT engineers, Ana Maria started to work in a very prestigious tech company in Venezuela. She was privileged to work in great places with amazing people and fought for her country to have freedom and recover the beautiful Venezuela that she knew in the past. But sadly, it was not enough, so she took one of the most difficult decisions in her life: leaving home, leave her family, and chase her dream in another place. Ana Maria packed her life in two suitcases and moved to Medellin, my hometown. It was not easy to get a chance when all one's work experience was in another country. And then she got a call from this company, Mass Global. She did her first interview. She was so nervous that she couldn't really show all her experience and potential. And although she was sure that she failed, as per Anna's own words, for some divine intervention, Mass accepted her profile and offered her one of the best experiences in her life. When she learned about my story and how I started Mass after becoming a software engineer thanks to a scholarship, how I was giving back to my country, she said her passion, or I guess our shared passion to help women in tech, Anna just felt that she was in the right place. For her, Mass has been a life changing experience. She became a mom, something that pulled her world upside down completely, but always felt the support from the company and personally from me, the CEO. This support meant the world to her because she was able to continue growing her career and being a present mom for her daughter, Alicia. Bienvenidos a la historia con Ana María. Okay, Ana, so empecemos con tu historia. Let's start with your backstory. You share with us how has family background has affected your life choices, right? And how it has influenced all of the accomplishments that you have, who you are as a Latina in tech with a very diverse range of experiences. Dale.
Okay. Well, I think from the beginning, I have been related with the tech world, right? My dad was one of the first software engineers in Venezuela. I'm really, really proud of that. And for me, I always grow up around that world, right? I was that kind of daughter that always asked, and why is that? And what are you doing? And so my dad was so excited to explain it to me. All this work at this time, we are talking about 80s, early 90s. So it's very excited because it was growing up. It was a baby that was in the early stages, right? So for me, it was like it was on my veins. So when I started studying petroleum engineer in one of the greatest universities in Venezuela, right? But one of the courses that I loved the most was programming. I just got one. It was just one class,
It only took
programming,
one.
but yeah, just one, and it was amazing. It's for me like for me it was like hearing music. I understand
Nice.
everything. It was like my logic was floating around. It was amazing, amazing, right? That I love that experience. And actually my thesis was about that, was creating a software calculating well damages, something like, and everyone was like, wow, you did that. And I was like, for me, it was so natural. I really love that part, right? And on my country was a very difficult situation, political situation, as you know, and the petroleum uh, companies were the most affected from this part. So for me, it was like I get graduated and I have no jobs opportunities,
Mm.
none of them,
And at
right?
this
And
time, you are in Venezuela. In what city?
Caracas, yes,
Caracas. Okay.
Caracas, Venezuela, yes. So I thought, well, maybe I can do something else because I didn't want to I have my beliefs that I didn't want to be part of that government and that belief. And so I said, well, let's do something else because I'm not going to I'm not going to betray myself, basically, right? So my brother and my sister, they are also system engineers, and they were working in one of the best companies, communication companies in Venezuela. So my brother said, "Oh, what about if you work with me?" And I was like, "I didn't study this. How can I compete or work with somebody that actually made a career around this, right?" But my brother said, "You have talent. You have natural talent. What about if you try? Let's just try." And that's what I did. I did a course, some studies, quick studies about programming, and I just jumped in. And I realized that I was not so far from the other guys. And actually, I could learn a lot, and I think I have been learning my entire career. That has been nonstop, and that's the key for this career. We always are learning. So that's how I land here in this software development career, which I love. To be honest, it's something that for me is, again, it's like music. It's an art. I can create with that. It's easy for me.
I love it too, but I'm biased. I'm a software engineer from Medellin. So, so Anna, how did that path take you to Colombia then?
Well, as I said, my country actually has a very difficult political situation, right? And even though that I was working on the software enterprise there, very good ones, to be honest, I have a really amazing career, but I want more. I wanted more at that point. So I wanted to have a family. I had to have a more stable future because we fought a lot for our country, but it was like pointless. I'm really sad to say that, but that was how it felt at that moment. So we fight a lot, but that was not enough, right? So well, with my husband and I decide let's move to somewhere else. Well, we can start our family. So he's from Colombia,
Ah,
so we decided let's go to Colombia. We didn't know which city, and my brother-in-law was living here in Medellin. He said, "This city is just beautiful. You need to be here."
uh-huh.
So I was like, "Okay, let's go to Medellin. Medellin is the destination." So that's what I came to this beautiful city, which I really love. It was the people was so warm, so nice, always willing to help you with everything. So it was like first love when I came here, and the
Uh,
weather. Oh my God, the weather is the best.
yeah,
The city
yeah.
is just beautiful.
City of Eternal Spring. But what an incredible sparring story, Anna. I took away a few things. First, you said, hey, the situation here is not great. Let's do something else. So I think that speaks to the resiliency of Latinas, right? The creativity, the resourcefulness. Sometimes I tell my kids, life is all about plan B. You make plans, but stay open because you never know what's going to happen. And if you sort of fixate your mind to plan A, you may miss out on opportunities. And look at you, now you're in a new country and you grew your family and you found this company Mas Global. And so being open to new paths and that sort of spirit of if it's not this way, there's another way, but I'm not gonna sort of give up on what I want. Second is you had this role model with your dad, and then your brother told you, no, you have natural talent. He believed in you. So being surrounded by people that give you that confidence and that give you that reference of what's possible. That's why I'm a big believer in our podcast trying to showcase stories like yours so others can see, hey, this can be a path for me. And then being open to taking risks because leaving your country and yes, Medellin is beautiful and you have someone there, but it's still unknown, right? So for some people, the technology world might be unknown, but hopefully they get inspired by your story. So thank you for sharing that. Um, Now, let's switch to software engineering, right? AI is everybody's talking about it. It's been around for a while, but really this last year with generative AI and ChatGPT, it's been like every day is in the news. And there's multiple industries that might be impacted or enhanced depending on how you see it. But from a software development perspective, there's multiple tools, right? Like Copilot, for example, that are in the AI world. What's your take as a developer, as a technical leader? How do you think AI will sort of revolutionize the world of software engineering?
Yeah, I'm really excited. But this is a really big step in our careers, right? Is what I'm comparing this like when we got internet, like the first time. This is something that is going a game changer, right? This is going to change the rules, and it's going to be for good because we are
Hmm.
evolving. We are evolving to have an interaction more natural with the technology, and that's the path that we have been taking. But this is like a big step, and some software developers are kind of afraid that, oh, we're going to lose our jobs. I don't see it like that. For me, it's going to change the rules. Yes, totally, and we need to adapt, and we need to grow up with that, and we need to embrace that change because it's going to give us a lot of tools, a new way to develop software, more natural, more integrate with the user, um, and I think it's going to be a great tool for us. We need to adapt, definitely, and we're not going to lose our jobs. I'm pretty sure of that. But we need, it's going to change the rule totally, and I think it's really powerful. Just the part of being more integrated with the user is going to give you like a big jump step here. It's going to be more natural. It's like talking with someone else. That is going to be the new steps of software development. It's not going to be a software. It's going to be someone else, and when you want to interact with.
Hmm. So amazing, right? The possibilities. And so you
Yes.
say we're evolving and the rules are changing, and it can be a game changer. So for software developers out there, learn, right? I think keeping that curiosity is
Yes.
really important, so you can stay on the game, right? If the rules change, let's just learn the new rules
Yeah.
and let's make it work for us.
Yeah, I have been seeing this a lot in these 18 years that I have been here. Guys, this has changed a lot of times. And that's the fun part of being in this career is you are always changing and learning and evolving. And it's really dynamic. And when you are working on software development and then you're going to be a data scientist, for example, and you can being always is very dynamic, and this is one of the careers that can give you that opportunity. Even though that you have 20 years in the industry, you will still learn. We still learn every day, and that is really valuable.
Yeah, great point. There's always something new, and there's new business challenges to be solved as well with the power of tech. So this is a good transition to my next topic about why diversity matters. Because even in AI, even as a software engineer, we're building the future, right? Of how we work, how we live. And so, how do you think this sort of even makes it even more important and critical for diverse talent to be in tech? And there's tons of evidence that show that diverse teams actually yield better financial performance, right? It's not only the background, but diversity of thought, right? And so,
Yeah,
how or why do you believe that this topic should really matter to everyone? And maybe you can share your personal experience, what it has meant for you as a Latina, as a woman, to be in tech.
of course. Well, the diversity for me, it's really important because it gives you multiple points of view, in the industry. We this career mostly is working in a worldwide, right? We are not working just for a country or a culture. It's normally for the entire world. That is the tech world, right? And with the diversity, women, men, with different cultures, different religions, different beliefs, give you a lot of perspective to 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 focus your work, right? And how to reach different groups of people with this diversity. um it's amazing how, for example, I work with people from India, China, States, from Latin America, women, men, and we all have different perspectives. But at the end, the product it's really rich with a lot of perspectives, so the user can adapt very easily to what we do. So I really and for me, for example, how women thought against how men thought, it's complementing, right? For me, it's we thought in a different way as men, and when we get together, it's perfect because we give both perspectives, and this is applied, of course, as software engineer, and diversity for me, it's really important. It gives you a big perspective, more better interaction with the users.
Great points, right? There's such application around the globe for the tech and the software that we are building, and there's people that are migrating to other countries as well. I mean, look at the U.S. There's 60 million Latinos only in the U.S.
Definitely.
Right? If we were a country, I think we would be at the seventh largest country from an economy perspective. So if we don't include all these diverse talent, then we're missing out on how do we make sure
Yeah.
that this is applicable to all the different demographics. So that's great. Now, in terms of Latinas in tech leadership roles, so English is not your first language, just like me, right? I learned English, when I was an adult. You came from Venezuela to Colombia. So you're an immigrant, right? Like me, I came from Colombia to the US. You're a woman, and yet you talk to leaders at global corporations. right? Sometimes Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies, oftentimes older white male leaders. And it's not that
Yes.
there's anything wrong with them. They just come from a different world. And for us as Latinas in Colombia, it could be intimidating for some Latinas. So for anyone who may feel like they don't belong or they lack the confidence or they question their ability to pursue ambition goals, right? And to be on those meetings or lack the sufficient role models to, who look like them or sound like them, what advice can you offer to help them find that courage to thrive and to build successful careers in technology?
It's natural to be scared. First, like you said, we are not talking in our first language, right? And so that's part of the communication that it's making us a little bit nervous when you try to interact with leaderships from around the world, right? Which is their first language. But I know I think the first part is you need to believe in what are your resources, right? Of course, we need to practice a lot about how are we going to communicate. But I think once you over over and go about that, you go with the part of, okay, I'm talking about leaders, and what about if I have no enough knowledge with them? I think that the my best advice is being honest, right? They started at some position that maybe you are right now, and they understand that. So don't make yourself a barrier between them and you, because they are not, and they understand that, right? They are very reachable, and you if you have the knowledge, and if you have your concept clear, you can reach everyone with how can I say it? That's part of the things that it
Dilo
happens
en
when it's not
español,
your real
está
language.
bien.
Con seguridad,
With confidence.
with confidence. Thank you. So
Mhm.
yes, that's when you have your concept clear, and these people remember that they start where you are at this
Yeah,
moment,
they can
and
relate.
they can relate with you. Sometimes we forgot about that. And
Yeah,
they know, Monica, you're a CEO of this company, and you're really reachable because you have been here and
yeah,
you grow from this position. And that's my best advice, guys. It's wonderful that amazing stories like yours, and woman and Latinas, because it inspire me to be okay. We can be there. We can be
yeah.
there, and that's amazing to know this kind of stories in our community. But remember, you being honest with yourself. These people have been in your place, and they are going to relate with you. So take a deep breath and start interacting with the leadership, because one day you're going to be there. Remember that.
For sure. I love that. Knowing that people will have empathy and sort of know your value, right? Like you said, know that you have knowledge that you bring to the table. That's why you are there, but also being a little bit vulnerable and sometimes sort of asking for advice and help and just bringing that confidence. That's great advice. Thank you, Ana. Gracias. So let's talk about setbacks because I believe that social media and just this age where information is on all the time, and typically people put the best stories, their best accomplishments, and very few people talk about difficulties, challenges. Even right now, we're not at the best place from a global economy perspective, or even with tons of social issues, wars, that type of thing. So as a founder with 10 years in the technology business, I understand the journey is filled with ups and downs, and success is rarely linear, right? So, can you share some stories of sort of failure and success that illustrate this for our audience, that can show them resiliency and perseverance?
Of course. And I think I think we already mentioned something about the thing is when I got here to Medellin, And at my 30s, mid 30s, I need to start over again. I have a career in Venezuela, 12 years of experience. When you said, okay, I'm settled down, I have a stable career, and one day to another, we have to start over again. And that was really difficult.
Yeah.
And that, when I started doing interviews, I realized that I need to step back a little bit, down a little bit the ego, because you
Yeah.
got with this ego that I am an amazing software engineer, blah blah. But
Right.
at this point, you realize, hey, let's back a little bit. Let's realize and let's learn about this process that we are starting with. When I started in Mass Global, I was really nervous in this interview, but you have no idea how it was. And I blew out my interview, to be honest, guys. I blew out my interview, and I was so sad because I knew what was my value and I couldn't show it. Right. And that's the part that you said, okay, we need to be a little bit more humble about what we know, about what we want to learn. And like I said, it was a divine intervention that I am here. Thank God. that somehow they must
uh,
know what was my real value. But yes, guys, that was difficult to start over. That was totally a humble lesson. You can be as stable as you think, as big as professional as you want, but the game can change in any time, and you
yeah.
need to be humble, and you need to be resilient enough to start over again. And that is not the ideal part, it's like you said, but you can do it. And you can do it. It's not something that I'm too old, I'm in my 30s and my 40s. You can
Yes.
do it at
Can
any
do
time.
this.
Yes, you can reinvent yourself at any time.
Yeah.
Your life, you can do it.
Oh, that's just so amazing, Anna. Being humble, I've learned over time as we've been building our own team and I'm having to hire leaders for organization. I'm always looking for that now because people who believe that they know it all and they've done it all and what I say needs to go because I mean, look at me, I'm the expert and are not open to other people's ideas and no, like please leave your ego check at the door. Be confident, sure, of course, but being humble is so important to really be able to collaborate. And like you said, sometimes there are situations where we need to sort of reset our own expectations, right, based on what's happening or what we are facing. So staying humble, but confident, right, is great. And I love that you said you were nervous for this interview and you still got it, right? So that means you were still able to show your value. And here we are, and we're still so lucky to have you in our team. So thank you for that. So let's transition to Girls in Tech because I know you are also a mom now. How old is your daughter now?
Yeah, 4 years old.
Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. I remember we took a picture in Medellin when you were pregnant, and it was just so emotional. And so I
Yeah.
remember we sponsored an organization. They have a Tampa chapter, Girls Inc. And I invited you and some other women leaders from us because this organization works with girls from public schools, typically from low income neighborhoods. So we're always trying to show girls exactly what you were saying. Hey, there's another path, there's another option. You can learn. And I remember I was really surprised because I told you and a few others what this was about, and you showed up with a video. Like you created this amazing video, and it was so simple and cool, and the girls could really understand what your role was. Because I was worried about how you explain in very simple terms to these girls so that you don't get them confused. You want to get them excited. So I really love that. And I felt that you went above and beyond and you wanted to make it fun for the girls. So as a mom, and I know, when you talk about Alicia, you just eyes just really light up. How do you think we can have a more positive impact on girls, showing them? the wide range of possibilities in a different future, and that they can do hard things, right? Not that technology is super hard, but sometimes girls believe that that's just for boys. There are studies that show that at 7 years old, they already think that this is what I can do as a girl, and technology and some other professions are for boys. So tell us, what are your perspectives on that?
Well, I think what we are actually doing here is one of the parts that I think it's something that could inspire the girls to start with this career, or being interested in tech, because you if you share your story about how you get here, and actually, like you said, put in simple words, like what you're feeling, what you're thinking about, the tag world is only for men. It is not. It is not. And you can the women perspective is really valuable. And for these girls hearing these stories is I think is there something that they need to hear and be inspired by. Also, of course, given the tools and given the opportunity to learn this and be part of teaching other girls about what you are doing, what is your experience, how what can we learn together to be part of tech. Uh, you like data, you like to program. We can do a lot of fun games to show you how fun is this part, is this world. At that moment, I was telling the girls that when I was a little girl, I was not good at craft or painting. That was not my strength. But when I discovered this, that was my way to do art,
Yeah.
and having that
Mm,
perspective that okay, maybe numbers and logic and how to assemble everything, building software that can be useful, that can respond, that something that can inspire you to create
yeah.
more, and for these girls to know that okay, I can do that. That's something that is reachable for me. And I would like to share with the girls that can hear this story, guys. This is for everyone. This not make difference. This is for you and all your girlfriends, and this is for everyone. This part of the technology. You can be part of this amazing world and learn a lot.
Ah, I'm just so inspired by what you're saying, Anna. I get goosebumps because I have a daughter too, right? Camila is 12, Santi is 9. And technology, especially now, is very clear that it's going to have an increasingly more important role in our lives, whether we want it or not. So why not tell our girls that they can also be part of shaping that future, right? And make sure that it is built in a way that includes us, what we need as moms, as women, as Latinas. So I love that, right? So share your stories. Know that this is a world full of possibilities, and I love that you shared that you were not good at crafts because that was my story too. Art was, I love art, I appreciate it, but I'm just not good at it. And there's this concept of unique skills, right? And sometimes as parents, we want our kids to be good at everything. We don't really need everyone to be good at everything. We want people to really find their passion, find those unique skills that make them, really good at what they do, and then focus on that. Learn it really well. And if you're passionate about something, if you really love it, then you can build amazing careers on it, right? And building code
Totally.
is definitely magical, right? Definitivamente mucha magia pasando en ese código, especially when you're debugging and then you get no errors and then it does what you expect it to do. It's like, wow, fireworks.
Wow. Yeah, totally.
I remember those days. So we're getting to an end, and as you know, the name of our podcast is Mass Impact, right? How do we create more positive impact in the world? And how can we drive more diversity in tech and business? So, could you share with us how you are creating mass impact? I mean, clearly you shared plenty, but it'd be good some final thoughts on how do you think you and our listeners can create more impact in the world, especially as we think about bringing more diverse and underrepresented talent to the world of tech and business.
Of course. Like I said, like my story, I think we have a lot. So we need to share that. We need to share that with the world that we can accomplish all our dreams and the career that we want to share. Also helping other guys, other communities to get here. Maybe are interested. Maybe you can it's inspired by a story, but you can help them to get in there. And the other part is when you work with the people, when you work with your team, in my case, I try to inspire him to be, inspiring them, to be, even in the future, be my boss. I want you to shine. If you go to the highest positions in every company or your own company, you have no idea how I'm going to be so grateful to be part of that. That's why I want to inspire people. Helping, it's everything. We need to help each other, learning, inspiring, not just with your careers, also in the personal path. You know, we have we have good moments of shining. We have moments of errors. That's the ones that we learn the most. Don't be afraid of have a mistake, because you are going to learn from that so much. You have no idea how it's going to help you to evolve if you take it like that. It's just a step, a path that the life is giving you to learn what and assimilate what you're passing right now, and have a better future for you, and share this with other people. This is so important. Share your story, share what you believe, try to inspire everyone that you have around you. I think that's my best advice.
Oh my God, that's just plenty of great advice. I truly agree with you. The energy that you bring to the people around you, both in your professional world and your personal world, it makes such a big difference, right? Everybody struggles with whatever, right? Family, work, ambitions, things that are not going great. But when you bring a smile to it and when you offer help, it can truly make a world of difference. And we all have something to offer. We have knowledge, we have connections, we have resources. We have a world of, positive things that we can tell others. Just like your brother told you, hey, you have a talent, go for it. So that's really great advice. And thank you, Anna. Your story is truly impactful and inspiring. And I'm lucky to know you and to see you flourish in your career. Thank you for making mass impact in everything you do, from being a mom to being a Latina in tech to being a leader for your teams. And gracias, muchísimas gracias for being here and for sharing your wisdom with our listeners. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit of my story, and I hope that it can help someone, it can inspire someone to continue and pursue their dreams.
I'm sure it inspired a lot of people and will continue to do so. Ciao, ciao, gracias.
Gracias, chao.